I want you to just picture a scenario for a second, something that, frankly, we have all been through.
Oh, I'm sure I already know what this is going to be.
Right. So you are holding your phone, you're staring blankly at the ceiling, and this incredibly compressed robotic voice loop tells you for like the fifth time.
Your call is very important to us. Please hold.
Yes, exactly. And then comes that terrible, tinny instrumental music. It is just the sheer universal frustration of being stuck in an automated phone tree.
It's the absolute worst.
It really is. But today, I want you to completely flip the script. Imagine you are the owner of that local business you're calling.
Okay,
Your phone is just ringing off the hook. Every single one of your staff members is, I don't know, busy dealing with some emergency or talking to another client in the shop.
Yeah, totally overwhelmed.
And you know, like, deep down in your gut, that the call you just missed was a crucial, high-value customer. And because you didn't answer, they're simply going to hang up, search online, and instantly call your competitor.
Yeah, that is a very real, very quiet kind of panic for a business owner. I mean, for decades, the telephone has been this incredibly double-edged sword, right?
And I mean,
Well, you absolutely need it to survive, but managing it efficiently without having like a massive corporate budget, it's been nearly impossible. Small businesses have generally been forced into this lose-lose situation.
right.
You're either torturing your customers with those clunky, press 1 for sales, press 2 for support menus that everyone
Not
hates.
you just talked about, yeah.
Exactly. Or you are just bleeding money by missing calls entirely because your front desk is completely overwhelmed.
And that exact tension between needing to answer every single call and just not having the human bandwidth to actually do it is the entire focus of our deep dive today.
It's a great topic.
We're looking at a stack of documentation from a platform called ClickPhone, and they provide what they're calling AI voice agents.
Right.
So our mission for this deep dive is to basically figure out how we're getting from those frustrating robotic press one menus to something entirely different. We are talking about autonomous conversational assistants that don't just, talk, but actually perform complex operational tasks.
It's a massive leap.
It is. We're literally watching AI step out of the text-based chat box on your computer screen and take over the actual phone lines.
And if we look at the broader implications of these documents, we are really witnessing the democratization of the call
The
center.
democratization.
Yeah, because what used to require a massive corporate infrastructure, I mean, teams of trained people, expensive telecom routing, complex software integration, all of that is now being packaged into a 247 autonomous service. A
Wow.
local dentist, a solo real estate agent, or even just a neighborhood bakery can deploy this technology practically overnight to handle their frontline customer service.
Okay, wait, let's unpack that setup process right there. Because the claims in this ClickPhone documentation are honestly wild to me.
They are pretty bold.
Right. Because before an AI can even answer a business phone, it has to actually know what it's talking about. Right.
Well,
It needs the company knowledge.
absolutely. It needs a brain.
Exactly. But ClickPhone claims a time to live of less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I say it's just this simple 3-step process. Connect, train, and go live. You sign a phone number, link your calendar, and then you train it. But I just have to push back here.
Sure.
5 minutes. I mean, can you really train an employee, even a digital one, in 5 minutes?
That is the completely natural reaction, but the term training here might actually be a little misleading if you're thinking about, traditional machine learning.
Like having a data scientist tweaking algorithms for months.
Exactly. You are not teaching the AI how to speak or how to understand human intent. It already knows how to do all of that perfectly.
Okay, so what is the training then?
The training phase is essentially just you uploading a central knowledge base. The documentation lists things like basic company information, frequently asked questions, your pricing structures,
Oh, like just dropping files into a folder.
pretty much lists of services, opening hours, PDFs of your brochures, and even internal process documents.
Okay, so it's really just like downloading the entire company brain into a super intern.
That's a great way to look at it.
But here is my major concern with that. We've all seen the headlines about AI just completely going off the rails.
Oh, yeah, the hallucination problem.
Yes, it hallucinates. It
I
just
know.
confidently makes things up. What if this AI super intern gets a call, gets a little confused, and suddenly offers a customer a 90% discount on a service, or just, I don't know, hallucinates an entirely wrong price.
Right.
How does a business owner actually trust an AI not to completely ruin their reputation?
Well, that right there is the single biggest hurdle for enterprise AI adoption. And it's the exact reason why this technology had to evolve quite a bit before it could be put on a live phone line.
So how do they fix it?
What's happening here is a fundamental architectural shift.
Yeah.
We're moving from generative free-flow AI to what is known as constrained AI.
Constrained AI.
Yeah. When you interact with a standard, open-ended AI chatbot online, it's generative. It's constantly predicting the next most likely word based on, like, billions of data points across the entire internet.
Right, which makes it super creative.
Exactly. It can be incredibly creative, but as you pointed out, it can also just guess wrong.
And make up a crazy discount.
Right. But the ClickPhone system operates completely differently. It is tethered directly and exclusively to the intelligent knowledge base you uploaded.
Okay, so how does that actually work in practice? Like, if a customer asks a question on the phone, what is the AI doing behind the scenes?
Think of it as a highly advanced search function that's just wrapped in a conversational voice.
Okay.
So when the customer asks about the price of a service, the AI does not generate a creative guess. It instantly scans those PDFs and pricing sheets you gave it.
Oh, just reads the document.
Yes, it extracts the specific factual sentence regarding that price, and then it builds its conversational response around only that verified piece of data. It is physically restricted to your documents.
That makes a lot of sense. But what if a customer asks a curveball question?
Like what?
Like something completely outside the scope of the PDFs.
Yeah.
Or maybe a really complex, angry complaint. Does the AI just, like, hang up on them? Or does it try to invent some comforting lie?
No, definitely not. And that is where the routing capability comes in.
Routing capability.
Yeah. If the AI searches your uploaded knowledge base and realizes the answer simply is not there, it's actually programmed to recognize its own limitations.
Oh, wow. It knows what it doesn't know.
Exactly. The documentation specifies that it can seamlessly transfer those complex calls in real time to the right human team member or an external number.
Okay, that's smart.
It acts as the ultimate filter. So it's handling the 80% of routine, repetitive questions, and then routing the 20% of complex issues to a real person. And it fully briefs the human on what the caller wants before connecting them.
That makes a ton of sense. It handles the baseline stuff and flags the anomalies. But, I mean, transitioning from answering basic questions about opening hours to actually doing work, that's a huge leap.
It's the most important leap.
Because the documentation outlines how this AI transitions from being just a talk and FAQ page to an actual operational assistant. Because, it's one thing to tell a customer you have availability at 3 p.m.
Right.
It's an entirely different thing to actually book them in.
And the operational actions are really where the actual business value lies here. It moves the AI from being this customer service novelty to a core piece of administrative infrastructure.
Right, because it features auto booking.
Yeah.
It integrates directly with Google Calendar and Outlook.
Yeah, that's huge.
It can book, reschedule, or even cancel appointments in real time while it's actively on the phone with the customer. But the feature that actually made me stop and reread the page is its multilingual capability.
Oh, yeah. The language detection is incredible.
The source says it automatically detects and speaks natively in over 30 languages.
Natively, yeah.
I want you to imagine running like a local dental clinic in a really diverse city. A patient calls in speaking a language that you or your receptionist just do not know.
Which happens all the time.
Right. And suddenly your front desk, this AI agent, detects the language, effortlessly switches over, and serves them in their native language flawlessly.
It creates just an incredible level of accessibility for a small business to suddenly wield. I mean, you are expanding your potential customer base simply by removing the language barrier.
And without having to hire a massive multilingual staff.
Exactly. But, if we look closely at the workflow outlined in the source, the true game changer isn't even the voice interaction or the 30 languages.
Really? What is it then?
It is what ClickPhone calls the CRM handover.
Okay, so if the AI takes a call in another language at, let's say, 8 p.m. on a Friday, books an appointment, and finishes the conversation,
Yeah.
how does the business owner actually know what happened when they walk in on Monday morning? Do they just get like an email with an audio recording of the call?
No, it is much, much more sophisticated than that. Think about the invisible labor of a phone call for a human receptionist. When they hang up the phone, the work isn't actually done. They have to type up notes, remember the action items, create a new contact profile, and manually enter all that data into a customer relationship management system, a CRM.
Right, the data entry part.
ClickPhone's AI does all of that instantly. It automatically writes the contacts, creates structured notes, generates a call summary, provides a full transcript, and logs the next steps directly into CRM platforms like HubSpot, Pipedrive, and Salesforce the exact moment the call ends.
Wait, really? So it's taking this messy, completely unstructured audio from a random phone call and instantly turning it into perfectly formatted database entries.
That is exactly what it's doing.
It is like having a sous chef in a restaurant kitchen.
Oh, I like that.
Right, like the waiter or the AI voice takes his complex order from the customer, but the CRM handover is the sous chef automatically prepping all the ingredients, organizing the ticket, and updating the inventory system the second the order is spoken.
That is a perfect analogy.
And the head chef, the business owner, just has to step up and execute the actual work.
Yeah, it bridges that gap between the customer interaction and the data management. It completely eliminates those sticky notes left on someone's monitor saying, call Bob back about his appointment.
Right.
It is actively organizing your back office while it is simultaneously speaking to your customers.
Well, if it's doing all this invisible labor, that has to show up on the balance sheet eventually. So let's look at the business impact, because we actually have real numbers in this source material.
The numbers are pretty staggering.
They really are. The overarching stats they highlight are a 38% increase in answered calls, which they explicitly note translates directly to turning missed calls into actual leads and saving $12,000 annually in personnel costs just for handling standard inquiries.
And those numbers represent a massive shift in operational efficiency. Turning a missed call into a lead is vital.
Yeah.
When a phone rings and goes unanswered, that is not just a missed conversation. It is literally revenue fading into the void. So capturing 38% more of those interactions fundamentally changes the growth trajectory of a small business.
And we have specific testimonials in the documentation that back this up. Like Dr. Sarah Vogel from a medical practice said they saw 38% more appointments booked in just 2 weeks.
Without hiring anyone new.
Right, all without anyone physically sitting at the phone taking those repetitive booking calls. Then there is Lena Brandt, the head of ops at a company called Estate 24.
Oh yeah, the B2B software company.
Yeah, she highlighted that for their B2B software, they set the whole system up in one single afternoon and were totally live the next day. But the metric that really stood out to me, honestly, was from Marco Hartman.
The Nova sales guy.
Yes, the chief revenue officer at Nova Sales. He said ClickPhone reduced their lead response time from 4 hours down to just 12 seconds.
12 seconds.
12 seconds. It's like having a bouncer at a super exclusive club who doesn't just check IDs, but instantly hands the VIPs a cocktail and walks them directly to their table before they even realize they're inside the door.
The psychology behind that 12-second response time is critical, honestly. In modern business, especially in highly competitive sectors like B2B sales, real estate, or even just home repair,
Right.
the first entity to respond to an inquiry usually wins the client.
That makes sense.
If a potential customer fills out a web form or calls and has to leave a voicemail, a 4-hour delay means that lead has probably already Googled 3 of your competitors and called them.
Oh, absolutely. I would do that.
Exactly. A 12-second response time completely short-circuits the customer's need to look elsewhere. You have engaged them immediately, making them feel valued and handled.
And the source also points out that they don't just hand you a blank slate to figure all this out. They list very specific pre-built templates for different industries.
Which saves so much setup time.
Right. They have AI agents tailored for doctors to handle prescription refills, for gyms to manage trial workout bookings, for restaurants taking Friday night reservations, real estate agents coordinating property viewings, and even for law firms to handle initial client qualification.
And, mentioning doctors and law firms brings up a totally critical hurdle that we definitely need to address.
Data privacy.
Yes, data privacy. When an AI is ingesting patient health inquiries or sensitive legal matters, you cannot play fast and loose with that data.
No, definitely not.
If a medical clinic uses a software that sends patient data to unverified servers across the globe just to be processed, they are violating the law.
So how does ClickPhone address that? Because a 12-second response time is completely useless if it gets a doctor's office sued.
Right. The documentation places a really heavy emphasis on their compliance infrastructure. ClickPhone is fully GDPR compliant, it features encrypted transmission for all data, and crucially, all of the hosting is based entirely within the EU.
Oh, okay, which means the data isn't being bounced to some random server halfway across the world to be processed and stored.
Exactly.
It stays strictly within the European privacy jurisdiction.
Precisely. And by securing that infrastructure locally, they clear the biggest barrier to widespread adoption in those heavily regulated industries. They're basically proving that you can have cutting-edge AI speed without compromising legal data protection.
Okay, let's step back for a second and just look at the whole picture here.
Sure.
We have an AI that sets up in minutes just by reading your PDFs. It avoids hallucinations by sticking strictly to those documents. It speaks over 30 languages, integrates seamlessly with Salesforce to organize your CRM, books appointments directly into your Google Calendar, acts as a flawless 247 receptionist, and is fully GDPR compliant.
Sounds expensive, right?
Yes. My immediate instinct as a business owner is that I'm being sold a custom-built Ferrari, and there's absolutely no way I can afford the monthly payment on an enterprise-level AI build like this.
Naturally.
What is the actual financial barrier to entry here?
Well, the pricing structure is arguably the most disruptive part of this entire document because it completely shatters the assumption that this level of technology is only for the corporate elite.
I was genuinely shocked when I read this. I actually had to read it twice.
It's surprising.
The starter tier is $49.99 a month.
Yep. Under 50 euros.
For under 50 euros, it includes 200 conversation minutes, one user, one dedicated phone number, access to over 20 different AI voices, and the analytics dashboard. And if you somehow go over those 200 minutes, it's just a pay-as-you-go rate of 20 cents per minute.
It's remarkably accessible.
So, quite literally, for the price of taking your partner out to a very modest dinner, a local mechanic or a solo real estate agent gets a 24/7 multilingual receptionist.
This is the core of the software as a service, or SaaS, model. It takes what used to be a massive capital expenditure, like literally building out a call center, and it turns it into a cheap, predictable, monthly utility.
Just another standard bill.
Right. Historically, only Fortune 500 companies could afford the development, the server space, and the maintenance of these custom voice routing systems. Now, the neighborhood bakery has the exact same technological capability as a multinational corporation, and they only pay for the minutes they actually use.
And what happens when that bakery expands or that solo real estate agent starts hiring a team? Because the documentation outlines a pretty clear journey of a business scaling up.
Yeah, the transition between the pricing tiers reveals a really fascinating shift in business strategy.
How so?
At that $49.99 starter tier, the business is essentially playing defense. They're using the AI to plug the holes in a leaky bucket, catching those missed calls, handling the overflow, and just ensuring no opportunity slips through the cracks.
That makes sense. But then you look at the pro tier, which jumps to $149.99 a month.
Right.
That bumps the business up to 600 minutes, 3 users, 3 phone numbers, and native integrations. But the feature that completely changes the game is that the pro tier includes outbound calls and campaigns.
And that right there is the pivot. Moving from inbound to outbound means the AI goes from playing defense to playing offense.
Okay, so what does that actually mean for the business?
It means you are no longer just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. You can automate discovery calls or have the AI actively follow up on leads generated from a website, form the absolute second they hit submit.
Wow.
Yeah. The AI turns from a defensive receptionist into an active sales development representative.
Okay, the documentation also mentions some pretty technical terms for the higher tiers that I want to quickly clarify.
Sure, blade them out.
It talks about a custom SIP trunk in the pro tier, and then in the business tier, which is €299.99 a month for 1,200 minutes and 10 users, it mentions an API for custom call control and a dedicated SLA.
Okay, yeah, let's break those down.
What do those acronyms actually mean for a growing business?
So a SIP trunk is essentially a heavy-duty digital phone line. Instead of a traditional phone line that can really only handle one call at a time, a SIP trunk uses the internet to handle dozens or even hundreds of concurrent calls.
Which you would definitely need if your AI is doing massive outbound sales campaigns.
Exactly. You need the bandwidth.
And the API.
An API is simply a digital bridge. It allows the ClickPhone software to talk directly to whatever custom software the business might already be using, even if it's not a standard tool like HubSpot. It allows for really deep, bespoke integration.
Oh, I see. And the SLA?
The SLA, or service level agreement, is basically an ironclad contract guaranteeing maximum uptime and priority support.
Right, because if your entire business runs on it.
Exactly. When your entire revenue stream relies on the AI answering the phone, an SLA guarantees the system will not go down. It shows a very clear understanding of the business lifecycle on ClickPhone's part.
They really scale with you.
They do. They hook the exhausted small business owner at €50 a month, and as the AI helps them capture more leads and grow, the software infrastructure scales right alongside them.
It is just a completely different landscape than it was even a few years ago.
Totally unrecognizable.
So let's bring it all together and quickly recap the journey we've taken on this deep dive.
Sounds good.
We started with the promise of a setup that takes mere minutes. Literally just pointing the AI to your company's PDFs to build a constrained, factual brain that isn't going to hallucinate wild discounts.
Right.
We explored how it moves beyond just talking to actually doing the heavy lifting, like booking appointments directly in your calendar and acting as a digital sous chef by perfectly organizing structured notes into your CRM.
The invisible labor.
Yes, the invisible labor. We looked at how it is saving businesses thousands of euros, securing data locally under GDPR, and allowing a business to scale from a €50 defensive tool catching missed calls all the way up to a heavy-duty outbound sales machine.
It systematically solves the oldest problem in business communication, which is being available the exact moment the customer is ready to engage without burning out your human staff or completely bankrupting your operations.
Honestly, that perfectly captures the reality of the situation. So I want you to remember this. The next time you realize at 11 p.m. that you desperately need to book a dentist appointment for the next morning.
Oh, we've all been there.
Right. And you call the clinic fully expecting to get a voicemail. If you are greeted by a perfectly polite, wildly efficient voice that instantly finds you a slot and confirms it in your native language, you might just be talking to an AI agent like ClickPhone.
Which leaves us with a fascinating and maybe slightly unsettling thought to ponder as we wrap up.
What's that?
Well, as these AI voice agents become flawlessly polite, instantly knowledgeable about every intricate company policy, completely devoid of bad days, and just infinitely patient with all of our questions.
Yeah.
Will we actually start preferring to speak to the AI over a human?
Oh, wow.
If the AI handles all the standard interactions perfectly and instantly without ever putting you on hold with that terrible instrumental music, will speaking to a real, flawed human eventually cease to be the standard and instead become a rare, premium luxury?
That is a wild thought. It definitely makes you look at the future of customer service a little differently. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.